Well, previously, there were reports that NFL teams were concerned the Cowboys could have an unfair advantage if Jerry and Stephen Jones were able to draft from the same room since they are family during the quarantine. However, that won't be the case. Jerry confirmed with reporters that he and Stephen will be in separate locations tonight. So, Shannon, how concerned should Cowboy fans be that Jerry is sitting at home with the final say tonight?
Skip, this was a lot to do about nothing. Skip, hopefully everybody's going into this draft, all 32 teams, and they've gone through scenarios. If the player that we like is available in the time that we select, we're taking said player. If a player starts to fall and we really like that player, maybe we potentially move up. Jerry Jones probably have an extra 6 landlines. Stephen probably have 6 landlines. They have cell phones. Skip, if there's a scenario, a possible trade, Skip, all this should be worked out. Why are you concerned now? This should not be an issue. I don't get why the other 31 teams are concerned. If Jerry and Stephen was in the same location, Skip, this is ridiculous. People trying to make excuses about, well, if they draft and they hit on the draft, it was because they were together. And it was because we didn't have someone else in our corner, and this is why our draft doesn't look good. Man, stop this. People will make excuses for their failures. Just own it. I'm glad Jerry and Stephen decided they didn't have to do this. I'm glad they decided to split up so we don't have any excuses, Skip. But I believe that every possible draft scenario, now obviously you can't plan for everything, but I believe they made the proper decisions. Obviously, we know Jerry has final say. Skip, if we select 15, the guy that we want is there at 15, we're taking it. If he's not, we're going to take the best available, or maybe there's a need position. Whatever the case may be, Skip, this should have already been taken care of at least a week in advance.
Okay, I hear what you say about the big picture. It's laughable to me that any virtual drafting is an issue for any team, because it's always been a virtual draft. It's not like all the teams are together in New York and they can walk up a card by word of mouth. You know, you have to make phone calls. 80% of draft business was always done over the phone to start with, going back to the 1960s. So I have no idea what all that hubbub is about. But it is somewhat amusing to me and somewhat concerning to picture Jerry home alone with final say, especially as number 17 hits the fan where they're drafting. And all of a sudden, Jerry doesn't have Stephen to be able to kick him under the table and say, no, Jerry, no. Or Will McClay sitting next to him to lean over and whisper in Jerry's ear, Jerry, no, not that. And there is the legendary story that, I don't know, I hear all kinds of stories about this, but that Stevens almost had to physically restrain Jerry from drafting Johnny Manziel. I loved Johnny before the draft again, and I said, if he's got alcohol or any other kind of substance abuse issues, I'm out. And that's what happened. But the point was, Jerry loved Johnny Manziel the way a lot of people, including John Gruden, loved Johnny Manziel. And Steven said, no, we've got to go with this offensive guard from Notre Dame. And you know the rest of it, it's Zach Martin, it's Pro Bowl history. So
all decade guard.
All decade. And yet, Shannon, big picture, just to defend how this has worked for Jerry when he's been in the war room, so to speak, you know, face to face with everybody. Not that they can't be on Zoom tonight face to face, but when he can have Stephen kicking him under the table. Remember, over the last decade, speaking of all decade, they've had the second most Pro Bowlers in the whole National Football League. So way to go, Cowboys. You have drafted consistently very well over the last 10 years. But the problem tonight that I see, Shannon, is, especially at 17, it's a weird place to be because this is a loaded draft. It feels to me like there are 15 players worthy of being top 10 picks. So clearly, 5 or so players are going to fall. And it's going to be a collision at 17 of need, which is obvious for the Dallas Cowboys. They need a defensive back or a pass rusher in that order.
Correct.
And yet it's going to be a collision of falling stars. There may be somebody ranked very high on your board that out of the blue, they've fallen to you, and you're like, really? We didn't see that coming.
Yes.
Even though you try to go over every scenario. And all of a sudden, maybe Jerry's going to be in the crossfire of need versus falling star, and he's going to get zoomed by a bunch of voices on his screen, his computer screen. It's going to be Tower of Babel. And it's possible that he would crumble a little bit under that circumstance. It's possible. But again, many of the mocks have had Dallas taking Xavier McKinney, the Alabama safety. And again, you know how I do it, Shannon. Yep. I just go off watching TV. I don't watch coaches' tape. Who flashes? Who leaps off my screen on television? And Xavier McKinney never did. So I don't get that pick. I don't hate it, but I just don't love it because he never caught my eye. I only remember him dropping maybe 3 interceptions that I thought he should have caught last year, and he did not time fast. Maybe he plays faster. He ran like 4.65, 4.63. You know, I don't know. Like that C.J. Henderson from Florida, the cornerback, he caught my eye. He jumped off my screen. He is a stud corner. I'm not saying he's Neon Dion, but he's very good. I just think he won't fall to Dallas. I told you about K'Lavon Chaisson, the LSU pass rusher. He's a little raw, but he jumped off my screen. I would say, oh, wow, I see him, number 9, I think it was. You know, I saw him. Yes, I get it. He could really be good. And if he falls there, I'd be happy with them taking him. But then I see others like Trevon Diggs, Stefan's little brother who played at Alabama at corner. I see him mocked to Dallas. And I'm like, I watched all those Alabama games. I just don't remember him. I'm sorry. He never caught my eye as somebody who's going to be transcendent at the next level. I like the fact that he's got bloodlines to his older brother, who's obviously very gifted. And I think he was a gifted high school receiver, was Trevon. But I'm not sure about that. So it's a weird pick to have where it's not cut and dried, where you can lock in and say, that guy is the guy. Let's go get him. Like with Wolf Hunter, with Leighton Vander Esch, they just said all along, I think a month before the draft, they said, that's our guy. If he's there, we are taking him, period, end of story. And I think they made a wise choice if he comes back from his neck injury, obviously. So, again, Jerry could be in a tough spot at number 17, and he's going to have to be cooler under fire than usual tonight.
So in other words, the league shouldn't be concerned. Steven should be concerned because when it came to the Johnny Manziel pick, it was like, hey, Jerry, let's go get a drink. He's like, Steven, but we about to be on the clock. He's like, don't worry about that. We got that all taken care of. So they went and got a drink.
Right.
Skip, and you make a very good point. Because the point, they need a corner, they need a safety, they need a pass rusher. Okay, corner, safety, pass rusher is there. So is Jerry Jeudy. Now, Skip, is where the intrigue starts to come in. Now where we start, now Skip, we got to get on the phone. Steven, Jerry, Will McClay. Okay, guys, we need a safety, we need a corner, we need a defense, we need a pass rusher, but Jerry Jeudy, I believe Jerry Jeudy is rated higher than any pass rusher other than Chase Young, higher than any safety, any corner other than Jeff Okudah, and any safety. So now, Skip, what do? Because we know Chase Young's going to be long gone by the time the Cowboys pick. So now you got a pass rusher available, a safety, a corner, and Jerry Jeudy. Now, Skip, is where you make your money. Now is where, okay, Will McClay, what you think? Okay, Steven, because that's what Jerry wants to hear. Jerry, okay, guys, this is what I've been waiting for. Like you said, Skip, it's easy. We're at 17. The guy that we've been looking for all along is right there at 17. Well, hell, Skip, that's a no-brainer. I can go turn that card in for you. Now when you got to make decisions, or somebody you're like, man, I think somebody's going to move. The guy that we want, he's there at 11, 12. Man, but I don't know if he's going to be there at 17. Do you make a move, Skip, to go up to 11, 12, maybe 13, and grab somebody? That's when because Skip, Look, there ain't no intrigue at 1. We already know Joe Burrow going at 1. We know Chase Young going at 2. And unless there's a trade at 3, we believe Jeff Okudah. Now, the Giants at 4, that's when intrigue, Skip. If we already know where the guy's going, remember, Skip, they asked in the NBA, they asked the insiders, Wojo and those guys don't tweet out where it's going because you break all the suspense. Nobody, the intrigue is there, Skip. Yeah. We got a trade, Skip. Now such and such is on the clock. Where they going? Who they gonna pick? Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, Skip. That they got all these Zoom. Jerry probably got a studio. He probably looked like Fox FS1, Skip, with all the cameras he got and all the Zoom equipment because he's talking to 15 different guys. He got like 25 landlines and 2 cell phones. So Jerry's going to be good. Everybody's going to be good. Just calm down. And they got IT guys, a bunch of them on standby. So if something goes haywire, they'll get it up and running in no time.
I agree. And to your point, remember, Dallas did lose Randall Cobb, who got way overpaid, obviously, to go to Houston because they had just given away DeAndre Hopkins. But without Randall Cobb, who had an excellent year last year, they're down a slot receiver. So that's why I said if Jeudy happens to fall, and that wouldn't shock me, man, that's a hard call because Jerry Jeudy is just a pure slot receiver. I think it's a little bit of a luxury, but you still need that guy. And like I told you, I wouldn't hate that, but you might leave a couple of defensive studs on the table to take Jerry Jeudy. So it could be a crazy 10 minutes right there. And yet, to your point, all the business was always done on phone anyway. So I think they'll be able to pull that off.
Skip, think about when Mike McCarthy went to and won the Super Bowl. He had Randall Cobb, he had Greg Jennings, he had Jordy Nelson. And then he had a running back that was nowhere near what Zeke Elliott is, or an offensive line nowhere near what that offensive line is. So now you put Jeudy with Gallup and Amari Cooper outside, and you got Zeke in the backfield, and you got this tight end, I forget his name, Skip, name slips my tongue.
Like Jarwin? Yeah.
I don't know. Blake Jarwin. Skip, I don't know how they pass on Jeudy if he's there, even though they have need at other positions.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.